Someone? I just waved. Huh?
Okay.
Go. Oh, just go. Yeah. What? Just go. Say it. Just wave and go. Okay. Do you guys want me to do the mic? On the mic? not for the screen. Okay. So, oh yeah, we do it. Yeah, we do it.
Unruly.
Hello. Right, we're ready to begin this global panel. It'll take place on the screen. You're going to grab your seats. We'll get started. Get the screen live in a second.
Hello, everyone.
So, did you see me?
Welcome. Are we ready?
Are you just going to invite another live? Yes. Yes. All right. Ready to go? All right. And can they hear me when I'm up there?
Yes, we can.
Okay. How's everyone doing? Still doing good? All right. Want to grab your seats? We're going to begin this next panel, the Global Creators Panel, taking place here on the screen. And if Susan is ready, we'll hand this off to her.
All right. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Long time no see. Welcome to our second global panel. We are super excited about this. Like a few things, we're have to be a little bit flexible, both with technology and schedules. So there are a few changes from what we had originally put in the program for this. As you can tell, I'm not m.anifest. m.anifest was supposed to be moderating this panel from Bogota today, but he's actually on an airplane moving from Chile to Mexico. He's on tour with Damon Albarn. So which is great. That's a giant step for him. It's also, my joke is that he's big enough to be on tour with Damon Albarn in South America. He's not quite big enough to be the one to set his travel schedule so he can be here too. So we'll work around that. But we also have, we may or may not have Colin Sekajugo joining us from Uganda, but we have three great folks on the line now, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves, have them tell us where they're from and maybe where they are today, and also have them tell us what they do, if they're artists, entrepreneurs, or both. So let's start with Haas. Let's start with you.
Okay. Peace and love, everybody. It's a really huge honor. My name is Hassan Dinawi. You can call me Big Haas. I'm from Saudi Arabia, but currently I'm talking to you guys from Sweden.
Hello, everyone.
I'm actually here to talk about hip-hop and what I do. Basically, I host Saudi's first FM hip-hop radio show. And yeah, it's a huge honor to be connecting with you guys.
Great, thanks. We're happy to have you here. Joby, do you want to go next?
Okay, cool. My name is Joby. Since Colin's not on, good thing is I'm Ugandan, so I can cover you in that aspect. But I am a film director and a producer based here in Johannesburg. I've been running my own production company for the last 5 years, and I got a team of.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Still doing good? All right.
Thank you.
Going to get this next panel, the Global Creators Panel, taking place on the screen. And if Susan is ready, we'll hand this off to her.
Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. There's some kind of technical thing.
Long time no see.
Sorry.
Global panel. We are super excited about this. Like a few things where have to be a little bit flexible both with technology and schedule. So there are a few changes from what we had originally put in the program for this. As you can tell, I'm not
I'm not sure what's happening. There's a huge echo.
Delay.
And now I've lost my screen. Oh.
With Damon Albarn. So my is great. That's a giant step for him. Also, my joke is that he's big enough to be on tour with Damon Albarn in South America. He's not quite big enough to be the one to, so we can be here too. So
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure what's happening.
I
I
think
think
we're.
they muted the room so that way you didn't have to hear the feedback coming back to you.
I'm sorry?
I think they muted the room.
That was that was what we're hoping for, right?
Yeah. So I
Um,
think maybe we proceed and we just keep chatting and they figure it out on the ground there.
and that's good. I'm good with that. So the last introduction, UD, I'm sorry for that. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you are and what you do?
Hi, it's lovely being a part of this. It's really an honor and a privilege. I am from Mumbai, India, and I am currently in Mumbai itself. Um, I am a self-taught artist, and I make art that I translate into textile as prints. So you could say I'm a textile artist, and I now have my own label of clothing. So that's really in a nutshell what I do currently.
That's fantastic. And how long have each of you been doing what you're doing, the current incarnation?
Say about 3.5 years.
Okay, good. How about you, Joby?
5 years total now, going on towards 6 years. I think it'd be 6 years in Jan. It turns into 6.
Okay, and you, Haas? You've been doing several things, but
Yeah. Well, been a blogger since 2009, and then a radio host since 2011. So yeah, I mean, technically speaking, yeah, it's been a blessing.
so for this conversation, what we wanted to do is touch on some of the topics that we're talking about here all day today and just get your insights and your experiences. And I think I assume what we'll hear based on previous conversations with you is that there are, some similarities between doing what you do, where you do it, and what folks experience here, and then some differences probably too. But the idea is that we want to be able to learn from you folks, from your experiences. So the kind of the broad topics that we're going to talk about is, first, we just had a panel this morning about resilience and overcoming challenges. And then we'll move on to a conversation about a little bit about success and how you define it, and then looking forward. So could you describe for us a challenge that you faced in building the work that you're doing now, and then what you did to overcome it? And let's start with you, Joby.
Funny enough, UT and I just briefly touched on it, like right before we went live. We were essentially talking about as an entrepreneur, year number 3 seems to sometimes be the one that's got the most challenges. And so like she's on year number 4. I'm on year number 5 on this side, going to year number 6. And you look back, and usually year number 3 was the most challenging one, and you're just happy to quote unquote survive it. But at the same time, I think the biggest challenge is not necessarily. I think the biggest challenge is making sure you can just retain customers, and give good enough service, especially as a small company, that they keep coming back to you. I think that's usually the biggest challenge for businesses is, one, getting the customer, but then now making that customer like a continual customer, somebody who's always a repeat customer, really.
So do you have some specific examples or things that you tried in order to do that, to get and retain those customers?
Well, to get and retain the customers, I think first and foremost, it's the service that you offer, and that's basically it. The service has to be compelling, and also the pain. So, for example, when I first initially started, even though we do TV shows and commercials and so forth, I started by doing PowerPoint presentations and keynote presentations for major executives at TV companies. Those, because they didn't quite know me yet, those were the first jobs they would trust me with. And then I started by doing like little promos and little ad stings. You start with the little jobs, and you kick butt at those, and then that you come back and they go, wow, okay, cool, really dug what you did. Here's a slightly bigger job, and that's how that's how it grew. At the time, it was just me and my partner, and that's how it slowly grew over time to be the little firm that we are.
So building that credibility in those relationships.
Yep.
How about you, Yudi? What would you say was a challenge that you faced, and then something about how you overcame it?
For me, actually, the challenges were quite different. Firstly, a small brief about how we sell our products I would have to give here so that you'll understand the context. We basically sell everything online, and when I say online, I don't mean having a website with a buy button. We sell through our blog, which means all our designs are put up, and you have to send us an email, and we write back, with your query or an order, and then we process the order and take it forward from there. For me, one of the biggest challenges was India is still not as open to online shopping as it has been for y'all from quite a long time back. This whole fashion of shopping online is very new to India, and especially when it comes to a category like saris, because it's still quite, perceived as a conservative mode of dressing, and the women that wear saris are considered to be the really simpler ones who are not that online savvy and would want to drape it around them in a store or at somebody's home to buy it.
Mm.
So when we started this brand and we said we're going to sell saris online, the first reaction we had from everybody was like, oh my God, it's never going to work. Because unless you're an established designer in the market and have been around for a few years and people know you already, you're not going to sell a sari online. And the second challenge was that we as a brand have been quite radical in changing the way a sari has been perceived, in the way it's designed and in the way we kind of portray an Indian woman in a sari. So for us, the biggest challenge was women accepting the fact that they can buy a sari online, and adding to that a sari that looks very radically different than most other saris already existing in the market. So they were the two major challenges that we faced when we started off.
And that's perfect for why you're here, because we talk about path forgers all the time. So clearly you are, by creating a new way of doing business and a new product, I guess, that
Yes.
puts you right in the middle of our definition. So how have you overcome those challenges of getting people to buy online and getting people to think about saris in a different way?
Yeah, for us, one of the biggest reasons of starting this label was to, more and more young Indian women are wanting to wear Western clothes because they don't think wearing Indian is hip anymore, which is a notion which we wanted to kind of change. So when we started off our brand, we took a conscious decision of shooting a- our products not on very model looking women. You know what I mean is we used real women, we used friends, we used clients, we used just people we knew, so that when a woman sees this on another woman who is not beautiful in the sense of the way society terms you beautiful, they kind of relate to her more. Like it's easy for them to picture themselves in a sari like that.
Mm.
So that was one big factor that kind of helped us, because women started writing to us saying, "Oh, it's lovely to see, fuller women, with not just skinny models wearing these saris with high budget photo shoots."
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big thing. The second thing was the first 1.5 years, we made it a point to be very personal with all the communication. When anybody wrote us an email, we took that extra effort to explain, why it is the way it is, what we're doing, why they should be trusting us. And over time, that trust has built and word has spread. Initially, we did have a lot of back and forth in the emails.
I think that's great, and I think that's a good example of what we talked about, seeing some similarities in that, you talked about one, making it so that your audience or your clients can see themselves doing what you do, right, by having an accessible image for them, and then two, that we hear a lot about that personal touch over and over again. So it's good to see some common themes coming through the day. Haas, what about you? What's a challenge? I'm sure there's one or two that you've faced in building up the work that you've done. Could you talk about a challenge that you faced and then what you've done to overcome it?
Yeah, wow. First of all, big up to UT and of course Joby. UT, I just want to say, that being hip is being you, being yourself, and I salute you for that. And big up. Well, basically, I host a radio show in Saudi. It's a hip hop show, and one of the most difficult thing that I had to overcome is, you know, the perceptions people have about the art form in general. You know, the hip hop is taken as a it's downgraded. You know, everything that we see in the mass media, everything that is being promoted right now on the radios and TV is not the real image of what, you know, hip hop is all about. So that is, for me, was really difficult. Plus the fact that I am in a country where it's very conservative, like Saudi Arabia, where there's a big debate happening that, you know, music itself should be forbidden, and that is a big thing. And I overcome it really by actually being persistent. I'm not gonna lie and give you like a great story. I was very persistent, very determined to actually reach my goal, and my goal is to promote songs that actually can elevate the mind, you know, through lyrics. And that's what I did, you know, and I believe in that, and I know that the goal itself is a powerful goal, and you know, with the people helping you, with the people, I mean the listeners helping you out, you can reach any of that. And you know, this was a main thing. How I did it, like I said, by the support of the people, and I kept, you know, I kept really going at it really strong, and I kept going in one path, one straight path, regardless of how many negative feedbacks I got. I got feedbacks. Why are you bringing an American culture to a Saudi culture? And I said, this is it. You know, hip hop is a universal language. It does not belong to America anymore. It's a universal thing. And people, the rappers, the artists that are rapping in Arabic deserve to be heard. They're rapping about something different than what the mass media are rapping about. They are actually reflecting the truth on the street. And that's why it's amazing, you know. So being hip is being you, and salute to everybody that's actually, you know, being real to him or herself. And I'm a big advocate of being, you know, yourself. And yeah, this is it.
Great, thanks. So one of the things we're talking about after lunch here is success, which is the follow-on from overcoming challenges, right? So assuming that we get through the challenges, trying to, I guess we're looking more from the personal side, how you define, how do you know if you're being successful or how you're doing in general? How do you look at that? What kinds of things are you looking at to measure your progress or your success? Who'd like to start? Just go ahead.
I can jump in. Success to me is just it's freedom of time. It's doing what you love. It's making a good living from what you love doing. You know, and it doesn't have to be like, I'm not talking about like it had you know, like $1 billion or anything like that. It's just the ability for me, like, it's awesome to think that I do exactly what I want to do every day. You know, I love the different creative jobs we're working on, and we get paid well to do it. You know, and that to me, that's success. Like, to me, I'm successful. You know, I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I feel like my life has progressed. So that to me, that's what I measure success by. It's whether you feel like in your life you have progressed and moved forward.
That's great. Yidi, do you want to add on to that?
I do agree a lot with Joby. I mean, I'm quite on his page, absolutely. And I mean, just to be very specific to what I am doing, for me, when we have young girls, you know, writing emails or sending us letters saying that the first ever sari that they want to wear is going to be ours, that's just worth all the effort. I mean, you can't put a price to something like that. So, yeah, that kind of sums it up.
That's great. And Haas, what about you? Because you have multiple endeavors going on. So how do you look at success?
Yeah.
Do you look at them separately, or?
Yeah, actually, it's a mix of both. Like you said, I mean, success is when a parent gives me a call and tells me that, you know, my son writes poetry in Arabic, but I never really gave him a chance, and I always thought that hip hop is for, you know, it's degrading art. And then my son tells me that, you know, you have to check out this guy called Big Hass on the radio, and I listen to you, and you change my perception of what hip hop is, and that is success. That's one person. A lot of people, you know, they send me messages. Thank you for changing my negative image of what hip hop is. Thank you for actually making me believe that we can write poetry, because at the end of the day, rap, which is an element of hip hop, it stands for rhythm and poetry. You know, and when I say these things live on the air, you know, you get this kind of feedback. That's success. But for me, on the other hand, as well, is success on shining the light on darkness. You know, Arabia, Saudi Arabia in general, or the Arab world is misrepresented in the media, and this is where I think a great success comes in, where you shine the light on issues and reflect the truth, on what's happening in your area. And yeah.
Oops. Thank you. Did we lose? I don't know if we lost.
No, we're good.
Hello?
Yeah,
It's
UT,
fine.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
All right, what about Mr. Joby?
My side. What was the next question? I missed it then. I'm still here.
Susan,
Okay.
can you hear?
Am I there?
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
we can
you are there.
Okay. I'm going to ask the room get ready with some questions for you as well, hoping that that part works. This has been a little bit tricky, this technology this time around, but we'll keep plowing through. The last question, one of the last questions for you is now like looking forward. What do you see as sort of the next in growing what you're doing and growing your businesses or growing the work that you're doing or growing the impact that you want to have with your work? What are the next sort of challenges? And I mean both practical challenges like people or money or time, and also sort of the more philosophical or spiritual challenges that come with growing what you're doing.
Cool.
Haas, do you want to start?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, in the future, in the near future, I would love to start organizing events and festivals, that actually allow these Arab hip hop artists or regional, Arab hip hop artists to actually perform. And this is where it's going to be very tricky in finding a good partner or people that actually believe in the cause. Because right now, what's happening is that a lot of American, European artists are being booked in the Arab world, like the United Arab Emirates, without them supporting any local artist. I mean, and a hip hop artist from the States comes in for like 3-4 hours, performs in the UAE. Why can't you have a local artist opening up for that guy? And I want to be that person where, you know what? Okay, we don't need anybody. Let's just start festivals and do hip hop festivals in the Arab world. And this is where it comes down to, of course, partnering up with people that can help out in sponsoring these things. On another level, another point, I think the world needs to hear what the Arab hip hop artists are saying. These guys are definitely saying something different than let's just go out. I miss you. I love you. You cheated on me with that guy. It's just different. These guys are saying community issues, social issues, and yes, political issues. And it's been, the light needs to be shed on these guys, and I'm fighting for the balance here, really. This is what I'm fighting for, ladies and gentlemen. Fight for the balance, fight for the truth, always.
That's fantastic. I have a feeling we have some folks who would be interested in supporting you in that cause, in that work.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
You're all part of the Giant Steps family now, so this conversation doesn't end today. Yudi, how about for you? What are you looking at going forward, and what are some of the challenges as you try to continue to grow?
To be honest, I don't really plan too much I don't really think too much in the future. But yes, it is my dream eventually to be working with folk artists and weavers all around the world, and have a sort of creative artistic community where we will have all of them interacting and working with each other and taking their specific region art or culture, but in a modern contemporary way, and putting it to a modern platform. So that really is the future dream.
That's great. And
we have
it's been the most exciting hangout ever. I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't know what that was. All right. We did this last year. We didn't have any technical glitches, so we got a little confident, maybe. Joby, how about you looking forward?
It's okay. I think Personally, I like the glitches because it tests it
Yeah.
just it tests your ability to just in that pressure cooker. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
So I'm like,
We talk
ah,
about B fluid
I'm
here. We have to keep
I'm gonna
rolling
just
with it.
sip a glass of juice and everything's gonna be okay. So on my side, I mean, when you talk about progression and where you want to go and what are the you know, I'm very excited because I continuously, wherever I look around me, I see nothing but like lots and lots of opportunity. I sometimes have to restrain myself and hold myself back and go, whoa, don't do that, because I want to do it, but it's a capacity thing. You realize, okay, maybe that's not for you right now. And by that, I just mean that I constantly see lots of different business opportunities. I see lots of things that other people could be doing, but I don't see anyone else doing. It's just a matter of deciding, you know, for me, I need to stay focused, and this is what I need to do. The best thing I've been working on is actually being disciplined. And by being disciplined, just saying, okay, guys, this is the path we're on. This is where we're going. We're going to stick to that. Now, occasionally there's going to be temptation. So something will come and kind of for a second sideline you and go, hey, look here. You could make money doing this thing and add it as a value in your services. And then unfortunately, adding that thing could take you away completely from where you were going anyway, because it's the time, the energy, the effort, etc. And not even talk about the financial implication. So for me, I think my biggest challenge going forward is one, I want to make sure I read more books. I want to listen to more podcasts, but I want to stay focused. That's definitely, because even as I start to get all that information, it's to balance it out. It's just to realize, okay, cool. All right, we're on the right path. Okay, let's look at our goals again. Are we okay? Cool, we're fine. That's basically what my personal challenge is. It's not to, you know, we've got to like triple our, you know, revenue, you know, by 2016. That's not really where we are, because we are profitable, and we've learned how, especially in the last year and a half, to be more profitable. Like, do less but make more. And that actually was the best thing we'd ever done, was to slow ourselves down and say, stop. Okay, on this one, understand every single step what's happening. So one job at a time. I think that's usually the one thing that I see a lot of our young entrepreneurs. I see them distracted with too many things. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming. Look, if I had to give you my list of like, oh man, the dreams and the things I want to do, it's a long list. I can't do it all, but it's a long list. And so you just have to remind yourself, yeah, stay focused.
So before we went live, you guys were talking about how you could feel the energy from the room, and I think like you're embodying it, but that conversation about focus was just happened right before this call started. So it's clearly, the themes are great. You guys, it's like I paid you, but I didn't, of course.
I can still send you my bank details. Don't worry.
I mean, I would love to, but
Oh,
so
man.
now I think we're going to see if we can take some questions from the room, because I think it'd be better for them to ask you some questions than me if technically we can handle it. So let's see. Marcus or Kevin, is that something that can happen? And if not, we can. We'll just keep going, I guess. I'll assume that, that they're going to chime in if they want to chime in. So another question I have for you is it's kind of personal, but in a professional context. How do you think you've had to? Oh, looks like we're maybe getting a question. Hi.
We have a question.
Perfect.
Hi. I wanted to ask a question about focus, the last thing we're talking about. So when you have a lot of ideas and a lot of them sound really strong and you want to continue and persevere, so how do you choose which ideas to go with and which ones you put on hold or how do you choose that?
So how do you choose, when you have a lot of ideas, how do you choose which idea to focus on? Is that the question, more or less?
Yes, yes. So like you're inspired about something, but a lot of ideas pop, like sub-ideas, I guess. How do you decide which ones to go through with?
So who has some thoughts about that, about how to start focusing? Or maybe it's about how to leave certain things behind.
On a good one. I want to hear Haas first.
Oh, well, you know, for me, Man, for me, I think it's about really because I work in the music industry, so I think it's the answer might not maybe be applicable, but I would say follow the truth. I mean, always support the truth, and by the truth I say things that are real. But again, I don't know if the answer would answer what I mean. It's not maybe applicable to what you were meaning, and it's. From a business perspective, I think the focus should, if you have so many ideas on your mind, it might come down to priorities. What is more priority right now to do? What is something that you can do that can maybe do another 2, 3 ideas with it? So yeah, that's what I would say.
Anyone else want to weigh in on focusing your ideas and efforts?
Go ahead, UT.
Question.
UT.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tricky question because, frankly, the more you see around you, I think the more you realize how little you know.
Yeah.
And that just wants to make you do more and more and experience and create more. But what I usually do is I basically just sleep over thoughts when I'm confused. And when I wake up in the morning, the first idea that pops into my head is usually what works for me best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's really a set rule with something like this. As Big says, it's really about prioritizing what you need at that point in your life. What is the most important thing? I think that's what really matters at that stage. So,
yeah.
I would second that motion. What I do will, the good thing is because I have a business partner, I can come in the room and be like, I have this idea and start saying it, and they can shut me down. So that helps a lot. For those of you without a business partner, then I don't know. I always think just look at your priority list and honestly just say, what did I start this to do? So let's say you're a hot dog vendor. If your plan was to sell, maybe like the best vegan hot dogs ever and only that and never sell any pork hot dogs, you have to stick to that. Even if the guy next to you who's selling the pork hot dogs is selling like a ton of pork hot dogs, if your thing that makes you different is that I do not sell pork hot dogs, then you have to stick to that. No matter how great an idea it might be to add that as a core service, you have to, what am I about? Stick to what you're about. That literally is what I would say. So it goes back to what Haas is saying. I think he was saying, be true to yourself or find your truth. The truth is, what are you about? And kind of just stay on that path, build that path, grow that path, and then along the way you'll finally, when the time is right, it'll feel right. When it's an organic addition to what you're doing, if it adds value, like real value, then cool. That would be my 2 cents.
Well, and I think that links to what Yudi was saying too, that if you sleep on it, the first thing that comes to you when you wake is probably also the most organic or the most true part of what you're interested in. That's fantastic. One more question from the audience in Minneapolis.
Sure. Awesome. Hey, my name's Chris. So I kind of have a question, follow-up question. We're talking about focus. I guess a question I would have is there's kind of a core concept that is at the center of what it is that you do. And so I would wonder if you could give us maybe a story about a time that, let's say that maybe you're going through struggle, you remember that moment. You're like, this is why I'm doing this, or these are the circumstances that really contributed to the focus that empowers you to continue doing what it is that you're doing. Is that clear?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
We warned you these were going to be honest conversations, right?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, it's a very interesting question. Shout out to you, man. I think one of those stories is, in the Arab world, music is, especially in Saudi Arabia, is a place where it's they take everything the wrong way. And one of those stories is, I would say that the story that really affected me a lot is I got a call one day from a sister, a female, and she actually been listening to the show for quite some time. Uh, it's a very simple call, but the horizon of it is so big. She said this to me. She said, "Big Hass, I've been listening to your show for a while, and you've changed my idea about hip hop. I got two brothers that rap, and I didn't even give them a chance or a shot to even listen to them because they do hip hop. All I hear is blah 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 blah. And when I listened to your show, I decided to give them a shot." And she did, and she is now their biggest fan. She actually told me that, these guys, they could write, they can do, they're doing amazing lyrics, and I had them on my show afterwards. So it was like, it was this amazing, circle that, she's like, I wouldn't have known that my brothers rap because of you, because the misconception, what is being thrown in the media, what is being thrown at us as entertainment, what is being fed to us as, top tens, is ridiculous. And it's the same sort of artists, same sort of messages, which reflects negative about hip-hop. And this girl was in the middle of Saudi Arabia facing the same thing. She's like, of course my brothers do bad hip-hop, they swear, they do that, and when she actually listened to them, they're talking about power of the mind, they're talking about the power of Arabic language, staying true to yourself, the heritage, and all these big things. And I'm like, wow, you need to get them on my show. And, it's a circle. At the end of the day, we have to share the love. And, yeah, that's what I would say.
That's powerful. I'd like to round out the last question. We only have about 5 minutes, not even left. I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm also going to make sure we let people know how they can connect with you. But the last question I'd like to ask each of you is, how have you personally, what are the things where you felt like you've had to grow in order to grow into the responsibilities, the careers, and the businesses that you're creating? Are there certain skills or certain mindsets that you've had to really improve for yourself in order to do what you want to do? Yudi, do you want to start?
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest learning in my business has been to understand the fact that you can't control everything. There will come moments in your life where you have to just breathe, release, and just let it go. Because there are a lot of things that, at least in what I do, doesn't depend only on me. I'm dependent on a lot of people, which means maybe giving it outside for printing or waiting on somebody to deliver my raw materials so that I can make it. And I have learned over time to stay calm and learn how to fight my battles, and which ones, not all of them. So that is what is, I think has been one of the biggest learnings for me as a person.
That's great. Thank you. Really good.
Your last question, funny enough, just kind of adds on to, I think, the question the gentleman was asking in the room. And for me as a creative, one of the things that I had to, that my business partner and I had to do, was actually stop embracing the creativity so much and pay more attention to the business details. And by that, especially the financial side of it, because you kind of just got into the, you get a job, you pitch for it, you budget for it, etc., invoice for it, and then you just get caught up in the making of the stuff, whatever the stuff is, And we were very guilty of that. We really just loved being on set, we loved shooting, we loved the post-production side of it, we loved spending time coloring the pictures. The thing we didn't like doing was sitting down and understanding the books. We had an okay financial understanding, but we didn't like sitting down and really analyzing and going, hold on, what was our real profit margin on this? Where did we make money? Where did we lose money? What did we think was going to happen? What happened after? And for me, that was the toughest lesson, and it was about year 3, especially when we had one of our clients who we'd kind of gotten in too much of a trusting relationship with, drop the ball and not pay one of our invoices. And it was a major invoice. It was one of our biggest jobs at the time. And it almost tanked the whole company, and it was because we didn't pay attention to details, and also we didn't pay attention to the payment schedule or when the guy was going to pay and what the agreement was. And we got too friendly and not too businesslike, and just at least formalized in the sense that, yes, you're my client and we're cool, but this is the schedule we're going to follow. This is when I deliver, you deliver. And just those little things. Those were the things that a really good book I read at the time that helped in that transition was actually, I think it's I hope I quote it correctly. It's the book by Mark Echo, which I believe is called Unlabeled, if I'm not mistaken. But it's got a blue cover. Anyways, that book. In that book specifically, Mark Echo was talking about how he would get so caught up in the creative, and he literally almost bankrupted his company, and that was kind of like a wake-up call for my business partner and I. We realized, oh crap, we're doing something similar to that. We're letting the creative take up so much that we're not paying attention to some of the finer financial details. So that, to me, that's the one thing, that the one challenge that as creatives, wherever you are, and look, we're all creative. It doesn't matter if you don't do the arts or not. We are essentially creative. You have to be creative and make it happen.
Yeah, sorry, I would add to that one word only. For me, it's maturity. I've matured so much, and I think this is what, for me personally, maturity is very important along the path. I've matured so much in this music scene.
Okay, thank you. We're actually at the end of our time. Thank you so much for sharing, first of all, and sharing your insights and your lessons. Thanks also for your patience with the technical issues today. It's we're still learning, I guess. Everything, it's exactly what Yudi was talking about, being dependent on others for making things happen.
Yeah.
We have some of your information in our documentation, like websites and Twitter handles. Haas, people can follow your show, I think, online. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's a live link that is available as well and on the blog. I'm very active on Twitter, big_Haas. I just want to say it's a big, huge honor for me to be with you guys, and thank you for introducing me to amazing souls like these guys, Yuti and Jay, my man, amazing. And shout out to my people tuning in from Lebanon, Mr. K, Fatin, and my lovely wife Hanan, and my kid Ahmed, who I love more than anything in the world. Please think human first, love your family first, and it has been an honor. One love, one world. Salute.
Thank you. And Yuti, you have a website as well?
Sorry?
Your website as well, where people can find your beautiful designs?
Yes. Do you want me to give out the website now?
Yes, please.
Yes. So it's www.udd, that's woodstories.com.
And you're also on Instagram with beautiful photos there.
Yes. And I would just like to sum it up also by saying thank you for introducing me to Big and Jody. And it's been absolutely lovely and a huge privilege and honor being here. I'm just hoping this can go further than just this conference.
Great.
Yeah.
And Joby, I know we've seen some of your work because you've done a video for m.anifest, and you've also done a video for Ryunga, who's part of the Giant Steps family. He was here the first 2 years too. Are there other places that people can check out your work, Joby?
Go to the company website to look at our portfolio and other things we've worked on. It's callbackdreams.com. So like callback, like somebody calling you back, and dreams when you go to sleep at night, the dreams that you have. Callbackdreams.com is the best place to get that. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Joby1, so JOBIEONE. Or on Instagram, it's Joby1time. So it's JOBIEONETIME. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much to all of you. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us at all different times in your evenings, most of you. And we will definitely be in touch. And I bet you might be hearing from some of the folks in our audience as well.
I hope so. One love, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Minneapolis. Yes.
Thank you.
Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for Susan.
All right, we're gonna go for lunch now.